Well, hello and good day to everyone. This is Vanessa Duplessis, part of the management team here at Powur. It is our pleasure to welcome you to the Powur Australia pre-launch call. We have a lot of information to share with you today, and we're very excited to be holding this webinar for you. So I'm going to turn this over right now to our Powur advisor, Lawrence Henderson, and he's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Vanessa. It's so exciting to be here, and it's so exciting to see what the future holds for Powur here in Australia. 4,000 people in America have already joined, so being the most mature market in the world, it's just amazing to see what could happen, and just a big thank you to everybody. And we really do have a really, our mission is to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy here and worldwide, and we've just got to get the information out in front of people's eyeballs. So just wanted to thank you. There's been a couple of key guys that have really built the team here in Australia, being Daniel Westover and David Hetherington. They haven't been able to get on the audio, so I know everyone's time is very precious, so I'm going to hand it over to you, JB, and a big thank you to everybody at Powur too.
Well, Lawrence, I want to reiterate that we absolutely would not have been here. To everybody who's watching, this is a historic event. This is the kickoff of Australia, which is happening right here. And we would not have been able to really pull this off if it was not for Lawrence, Daniel, and David, who for the last year just absolutely held the vision strong for what would it look like to bring Powur's revolutionary Workforce 2.0 business model to the solar market of Australia. And not only did they hold that vision, but they went out and they started gathering other people who shared the same vision and building a tribe and building the business from halfway across, from literally across the world, as far away as you can get. They were submitting homes in America, signing up homes to go solar in other countries, just so that they could participate in the business. While they really laid the groundwork for Powur to come to Australia. And over the last couple months, we've really been doing a lot of work, meeting and networking and getting to know all of the best solar providers across the amazing Australian marketplace, which is one of the most mature solar markets in the world. That's what you're going to learn about in this presentation. And it's really set the stage for what I believe is one of the most important and life-changing sort of business ventures that anyone who's watching this presentation right now ever might see in their lifetime. And I don't make that claim lightly. I make that claim based off of facts, based off of evidence, based off of plenty of documentation that we're going to walk you through in this presentation for why we may never see another moment like this in history again. It truly is that big, and we truly have the ability to do something that no human beings before us have done. We could play an instrumental role in helping to shift the world to sustainable energy, to set our planet on a sustainable course, trajectory, to solve the problem of commodity-based fuels that will inevitably run out, and when they do, threaten civilization as we know it, and provide a clean, renewable source of energy for all future generations that's safe, prosperous, and healthy. And if you can make a lot of money doing that, or even part-time money doing that, that changes your life and your family's life, I don't know, you got to check and see if you have a pulse, because to me, the work we do in the world should really be about the abundance it creates, not just for us, but also for the whole planet. And with Powur, you absolutely have the chance to do both, and you have a ground floor opportunity in the fact that this is the first time anyone has brought a direct selling network marketing model, a $250 billion annual industry, to the solar energy market of Australia. And as you see throughout this presentation, really it's just the facts speak for themselves. So we always like to ask a question right in the beginning: who do you know that uses energy? And the answer is really obvious. Every single human being on the planet, more or less, uses energy. Vanessa, can you mute that out? The only people that don't use energy, unfortunately, are probably in some form of extreme poverty. But the rest of the world, we all use energy. It's a $6 trillion annual marketplace. Okay, it is the largest industry in the world. It is the commodity that makes all the other commodities work. It was really energy that led to the rapid industrialization and explosion of human population and growth in society. When we unlocked the power of energy, we unlocked a new power for humanity. And thus it became the largest industry in the world. Now, a question I have for you, though, is, what are you going to pay first? Are you going to pay your mortgage first or your energy bill first? And, the answer to that question is surprising to most people because you don't think about it, but you're actually going to pay your energy bill before you pay your mortgage. If you only have enough money for one or the other, you're going to make sure your lights turn on and your stove turns on before you make sure the bank got their money for your house. And that tells you something. This is a product. This is a commodity that we can't live without. It is absolutely instrumental to our lives. Yet if you look at what energy is today, here's what you're going to find about energy. First off, it's expensive. In most places of the world, it's really expensive. There's a few pockets of the world where, traditional energy is still dirt cheap. But in most of the world, it's expensive, and it gets more expensive every single year. It's dirty, all right? We're talking about coal, oil, gas. Those are the three primary ways that we produce energy for our needs today, and all of them are filthy. They're disgusting. They pollute our oceans, they pollute our land, they pollute our water and our air. Millions of people die from the pollutants in our fuels every single year. They get cancer, they get asthma, they get all sorts of diseases that are connected to these things. There's oil spills that happen, which cause communities to suffer in vast amounts of ways. It's not pretty. The cost that we're paying, the human cost, the health cost to get the energy to meet our needs today, they're scarce. Okay, there's only so many of these resources, and even though we probably have at least another 100 years of reserves left of a lot of these different fuels, that's not actually that long. And because we're living in a paradigm of scarcity, right? There's only so many. In the back of our minds, we're always all worried about keeping the lights on, or everything's scarce because you run out of these fuels and we're doomed. Society has not figured out another way to power, to turn on the lights, to heat the stove, to whatever. Before these fuels really get scarce, then we enter into a doomsday scenario. So I don't know about you, but I don't feel like waiting around to see, if we figured it out by then. And lastly, we're entirely dependent on utilities that control our power. We do not control our power. What if something happens to the grid, right? Grid terrorism is a very real threat. What if they just decide to continue to increase rates and you can do nothing about it? And eventually it's, like some countries where, 20% of your earnings is going to pay the power bills every month. Who knows? But we're not in control. That's what we do know. And I don't like being dependent. I don't think most people like being dependent. But this is the energy reality of today. And, it only really impacts you when you look at your bill or when you get cancer. And then you start thinking about these things, or when your community was polluted, or hopefully, God forbid, we don't have to wait until we run out of these fuels to think of plan B. But trust me, there's a real impact to all of us for how we produce energy today. And I think that's why we are truly on the cusp of one of the greatest opportunities that we'll ever see. Because when you find a massive global challenge, something that impacts every human being on the planet, you have an opportunity for incredible abundance. The greatest entrepreneurs understand that solving challenges, the bigger the challenge you solve, the greater the opportunity, the greater the wealth. So we've got a chance to solve one of the biggest challenges in the world, and that's going to equal massive value for the people who really help solve that challenge, which I hope is starting to get you excited for a lot of ways as an entrepreneur. Now look, everybody, we're moving into an era of platform disruption. You look at Facebook, you look at Uber, you look at Airbnb and Kickstarter and Etsy. These are all platforms that totally disrupted the industries, the previous incumbents in their industries. Facebook has rendered traditional media, it's not totally obsolete, but it's almost obsolete. Facebook is valued at $350 billion. The next largest media company in America is Fox, and they're valued at $4 billion. So about 1% of Facebook's valuation. I don't know about you, that's pretty obsolete. How'd Facebook do it? They created a platform so that anyone could create their own media. We call it social media. You can do whatever you want, share whatever you want, say whatever you want, post whatever you want, record whatever you want. You're the media nowadays. And there's 2 billion people that use Facebook's platform. Almost 1/3 of the population of the planet is on their platform now. Uber came in and disrupted transportation. How'd they do it? They didn't buy 1 million cars and employ 1 million drivers around the world. They created a 1099 commission-only model where anyone could be a driver for Uber, bring somebody, share a ride, do whatever, and get paid to do it. And overnight, they became the largest transportation company in the world. Over 1 million people drive for Uber every single day. And they completely disrupted the transportation industry. Airbnb did the same thing to hospitality. They became the largest hotel company in the world. How'd they do that? Not by going out there and buying, properties everywhere. They don't own a single property. They created a platform, and they let anyone who had a room or who had a home and wanted to rent it to someone else to do it. So anyone could become their own hotel overnight using Airbnb. They're now valued at $31 billion. This is the era that we're living in. We're living in an era of platform disruption. And the entrepreneurs who see the future and who plug into Workforce 2.0, this is all Workforce 2.0 stuff right here. It's the future of how we're going to work on our own time, from the palm of our hand, through a mobile phone, through the assets we already have at our disposal, whatever it might be. This is clearly where things are heading. And these are just a couple examples of companies that have already made that transition and made that switch. So I want to introduce you to the first international solar energy platform. Really through our network of international solar providers, we are offering unprecedented, no upfront cost solutions to homeowners to go solar, to save money on their electric bill, and to do it from the palm of your hand. Powur has truly created the Uber for solar sales model, knowing that there are millions, there's in fact billions and billions of homes that are going to need to go solar at some point over the coming decades, whether it's because the grid is unreliable, or their savings, they're spending too much money, or there's too much pollution, or whatever the reason is. Whether the government comes in and mandates that everybody goes solar because our planet is doomed if we continue to produce energy the other way. Who knows what's going to happen, but what we do know is that over the coming decades, virtually everyone's going to go solar because it makes sense. It saves people money, it doesn't cost anything to install, and it's a better, cheaper, cleaner way to get your energy. As David Crane said, the former CEO of NRG, one of the largest utilities in the world, what informed homeowner is not going to go solar when they realize that they can produce their own energy from their own rooftop cheaper than they can buy it from the grid? And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about here. And Powur's truly created the first platform that allows anyone to get involved in that side of the business. Vanessa, can you please make sure that all of those noises are muted? Thank you so much. So we have close to 100 solar providers on our platform at this point, including many amazing providers that just entered in Australia. And again, this is really the first time that we are entering into Australia. Today really marks the kickoff event, the first pre-launch call for Powur beginning to do business in Australia, Next week, we will be turning on thousands and thousands of Australia postal codes where homeowners from across Australia are going to be able to get the benefits of our product, and our amazing advisors, people just like you listening to this call right now, are going to be able to make money and build a part-time income or a full-time income by introducing homeowners to our product and introducing other people to the Powur platform with a chance to earn their own income by helping to shift the world to solar energy. It's important to understand why solar is disrupting everything right now. Now, the key reason is that you can literally start saving money day number one in almost all of the power markets around the world. We'll explain how that is. You can become energy independent, so you are no longer reliant on a utility. You can go green, so you can reduce your pollution, reduce your carbon footprint, reduce the chemicals and the toxins that you're responsible for every month when you turn on your lights and all those other things by switching to solar. You can increase the value of your own home because you're installing on your rooftop an electricity producing asset that produces thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of electricity for the next coming decades. And you can pay nothing out of pocket to do it, which allows you to save thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars over the long term as your savings compound year after year after year. See, most people don't realize that solar is now being financed, that so many people around the world, in Australia it's a little different because solar is so cheap in Australia that so many people are just writing a check and their payback period is so small that it's crazy how the economics of solar in Australia are just phenomenally good. And of course around the world, they're not that good. Some markets take 15 years to pay back. Some markets are 10 years to pay back. Some markets in the U.S. are 7 years, 8 years, 5 years, 6 years. In Australia, I think it's like 2 to 3 years. So you truly have the best market in the world for solar, probably definitively. Even with that being said, some people might choose to finance the system. So instead of paying anything out of pocket, for no money out of pocket, you're entering into a small loan or a low interest rate loan or whatever it is, and the payments you're making on your solar system every month are less than what you were paying your utility. And that's why it's a total no-brainer, is that people can be ROI positive day number one, plus they can bake all the long-term value of owning an electricity producing asset, increasing the equity of your home, and the long-term savings from rising utility costs. All of that is like cherry on top to the savings that exist day number one. So really, once you understand that, that's why solar is inevitable. It's not like this is going to happen. It is happening, and it's only going to continue to accelerate. We're really heading into an era where we could see exponential growth. Just like all major technologies are adopted, it begins with early adopters. And once it crosses a certain threshold where most people look around and they see that their friends and their neighbors have adopted this technology, it becomes the new de facto standard. And solar is quickly heading into that mainstream exponential growth curve. In fact, in Australia, it already is. So let me walk you through what our process looks like when you sign up as a Powur advisor. So first thing first, you have a savings conversation with a homeowner. So you talk to them about the things that I just shared with you. Hey, how would you feel about saving thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on your energy bills by producing your own clean energy with nothing out of pocket, having it cost you nothing out of pocket? So you have that conversation with a homeowner, and we all know homeowners. We know dozens of homeowners. Once we have that conversation, we collect a few pieces of information from the homeowner, and we submit that person through our platform to one of the providers in your area. We then complete a three-way call with our homeowner on the line, with the provider we just submitted it to, so we can connect the homeowner to have an appointment with the provider right then and there. That's really the totality of the work that we do at Powur. It's pretty much that simple. Once we've made that handoff to our providers, they're responsible for everything from there. So we're not responsible for the sale, for the permitting, for the site audits, for engineering, for construction. None of the hard work. We're pretty much responsible for all of the easiest work, yet we get to take a percentage of the whole sale, which is really a phenomenal opportunity. So once you've made that connection with the provider, then the provider is going to have an appointment with your prospect, with your homeowner. You get paid when that appointment happens. So your first commission is triggered when a provider has an appointment with your homeowner. The next stage is that they decide, you know what, this all sounds really great. I'm going to save a bunch of money. I trust this company. You guys know what you're doing. I'm going to sign a contract to go solar with you. Once they sign a contract to go solar, it'll notify you right in your back office. And the fifth stage is actually the date the installation is complete. And when the installation is complete, we trigger your second commission milestone, which is, again, is going to be a percentage of that wholesale, and you will get paid. Another really positive thing about the Australian marketplace is that you have really fast installs. Because it's such a mature market, installs, oftentimes take weeks instead of months like they do in the United States, which is really exciting because people are going to be able to see their projects moving through this pipeline really quickly, cashing appointment checks and install checks all along the way, and getting paid passive income as that happens throughout the team that you build. So really, it's an incredibly simple process. We have training that supports anyone through the very beginning stages of this. After you do it a couple times, you literally have a skill for life that can make you hundreds of dollars or more every single time you literally set up an appointment for a homeowner to have a conversation with one of our providers and they decide to go solar. We've created the category inside direct selling for sustainable energy. Truly, Powur is the category creator. We're the first company ever entering into Australia with a product like this, disrupting the energy industry of Australia like this. Direct sales is a $250 billion annual industry that pays over $200 million per day in commissions. So if anyone ever tells you there's not a lot of money to be made in direct sales, they clearly have not looked at the statistics. This is a monster industry, and it has all sorts of products and services that people offer through this industry. We're the first company to really bring this to solar energy, and the first company to bring solar through a direct sales channel to Australia. So, there may be other competitors that come after us. They might see our idea and think, well, you know what, I want to do that too. But we all know that when you create the category, when you're the Uber, when you're the Airbnb, there may be another competitor, but they're going to be a lot smaller than you. So this is our chance. This is your chance, really. I hope you're grasping the vision, because it's truly about being at the founding level of overriding the billions of dollars of solar sales that are going to take place in Australia. You have I think 9 million homes. I'll get to that slide in a second. You have 9.3 million homes in Australia. And right now, if you're thinking critically as an entrepreneur, you should be saying, my God, how many of those homes would I want to get paid on, right? How many of those homes could I introduce? How many homes could the people in my team introduce? If I'm one of the first people to really get active with Powur in Australia, you could override hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of those 9.3 million homes that are inevitably going to be going solar over the coming decade. So we're really excited for this market for a variety of reasons. Some of these I've already pointed out, but as you guys can see here, you have the global leading adoption rates for solar in the world. There's no other marketplace in the world that has adopted solar as much as Australia. And the reason why is that Australia, in fact, I was just reading an article the other day, South Australia has the highest energy prices in the world, which is crazy to me. I don't know how that is possible, given that you also have a lot of coal, but you have the highest energy prices in the world. And you can see that 32.8% of homes in South Australia have already gone solar. Guys, you should be thinking about the next 68%. That's billions and billions of dollars, and you're in the middle of mainstream adoption. People in South Australia are not asking about solar. They're just asking, who do I go with? Who's the best company for me to go with? If you approach a home that doesn't have solar on it already, pretty much as long as you know how to talk and you know how to introduce that homeowner to a provider, there's a darn good chance that you're going to get that business, because the economics just make sense. It's just so lucrative to go solar in Australia. Second, we're now starting to see battery storage become a major product in Australia. People aren't just going solar, they're going solar with batteries. They're becoming their own utilities. The only thing better than going solar and saving tons of money day number one is going solar, saving tons of money day number one, and having your own batteries, because that essentially makes you your own utility. You are truly grid independent. And that is a massive trend that is happening all across Australia right now. In fact, as many as 50% of all the solar installations taking place are now happening with batteries. So homeowners are truly grid independent. If something happens to the grid, they don't care. They are their own utility. They control their own energy from the rooftop. They store their own energy in their battery. They can flip the bird to the utility if they want. It doesn't matter. It's the true vision of sustainable energy at a better price, independent from the utility, and it's happening like bananas all across Australia right now, and it's one of the coolest conversations, and you can be the first person to ever introduce this through Powur's business model and through direct sales if you're in Australia today. So again, we're just so excited about this market for all of these reasons. It is the perfect storm. It is a phenomenal business opportunity. There's billions to be made. I don't know what more you could ask for. And again, you know, Powur will provide all of the leadership training and support that you need to really succeed in this marketplace. And let's talk about the money. I'm going to skip right over that first one because that is something that everybody that we've yet to reveal to everybody. That's a secret little bonus announcement that might be coming in the fall. But we've optimized our revenue plan just to be like all those other platforms that you've heard about. iTunes pays 30%, Uber pays 30%, Airbnb, pays 70%, iTunes 70%, Uber, 70%. So we view ourselves as a platform. We are an international solar energy platform. We connect homeowners to the very best providers all over the world. We pay our partners, our advisors who are out there educating people about solar, 70% through a variety of different bonuses. Not all of those are to the refer. Some of those are what you'll earn off the people that you introduce to the platform. But 70% of the revenue that we collect, we optimize to pay out. So you can earn a percentage of the entire sale, of every sale that happens in your team, and every sale that you do personally. So you'll earn a percentage of that whole sale. And these are fairly big sales. You can see $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 sales that are happening as homeowners switch over to solar and batteries. You also earn appointment revenue. So you earn money every time that one of your advisors has an appointment. What that means is they review a proposal from the provider to go solar. When that happens, you're going to make money. And you can even make money when that happens in your team. And you can also earn lead acquisition bonuses. So these are these are overrides that you can essentially earn off all of the appointment revenue that's happening from new advisors in your team as they first sign up. So we have special bonuses because it's a big part of any compensation plan is motivating the right behavior. Well, when you join Powur, we want you to learn the critical skill of how you succeed in this business, and that's really talking to homeowners. So we're going to reward everyone who's involved in helping you learn that skill, and we're going to reward you when you teach your new teammates that skill through lab bonuses. And these can be very lucrative, up to $750 per advisor to unlimited levels through your team. And so our revenue plan is really simple, and it's also very lucrative. As you go out there and you do the activity, you can make money and you can get paid, quite well for helping to shift the world to solar energy. What's it cost to have a license with Powur in Australia? So an unlimited license to our platform, a fully replicated Powur.com website. This includes customer landing pages and advisor landing pages, a solar professional certification, so we will educate you on the solar energy industry and educate you about Powur and our business model, and live weekly trainings. You get to tap in as much as you want or as little as you want, but there's Zoom trainings happening, calls happening all the time to help you sharpen your sword and really become a professional in this industry for a one-time US $4.99 cost. So it's really cool. You know, we don't have like other direct selling companies might have auto ships or this or that. One of the greatest things about Powur's business model is that you have a one-time cost to own a license to our platform, and you're in business. You know, really for the rest of your life, you're in business. And again, I want to paint the picture for you of 9.3 million homes in Australia that could be getting their energy cheaper today from you and the company you introduced them to than the grid. And, you know, how many homeowners are you going to talk to over the next 10 years? You know, think about it. And if every time you submit a homeowner through our platform, you get paid on an appointment and you get a piece of when they go, you know, solar, just think about the ROI and a one-time $4.99 cost to own a license to our platform over the next coming years, never mind the next 10 years. I mean, that's how I think about it, and I truly believe there's absolutely no way to lose. So what's the rollout strategy in Australia? First, we're focusing on influencers and building buzz. We're starting to get the word out about what Powur's up to in Australia. We are tapping into the early adopters, so we're moving from buzz into early adopter phase. Now what this looks like is beginning to team build and start to develop the market and really develop the local communities of passionate Powur advisors who are spearheading this conversation and spearheading the movement in their local communities and helping to shift their communities to sustainable energy. Then we're planning a disruption event. So as soon as we achieve the first sort of milestone of critical momentum of a couple hundred people in Australia, we're going to come over there and we're going to do a live event. And you're going to get to taste and experience and see and feel what our culture is really about and what our company is really about and the bigger purpose and vision and mission behind what we're accomplishing together, and the impact this can have on your life and the impact this can have on your bank account and your family's life and the whole darn world. And we segue that into full-blown momentum and scale. Our vision for this marketplace is tens of thousands of our fellow Australian advisors who are generating, you know, hundreds of thousands of customers, you know, through passionate and focused efforts on a yearly basis to really be a major player, maybe even the most dominant player in the solar energy landscape in Australia. And truly all of the pieces have lined up. All of the pieces. We have record adoption. We have record low solar prices, record high utility prices, all of the processes and operations and product. We're not waiting on anything. We're not waiting for some technology. Everything is here now. This is the moment we've been waiting for. It's right now. And you've got to recognize that you have a first mover advantage by really joining Powur at this stage. And the second thing you've got to recognize is that really legacy money is created in this industry by being parts of companies at their foundation. Heck, any company at its foundation. You know, look at the founders of companies, or the people who are the earliest at the stages of those companies. That's where the legacy is. Nobody's talking about, you know, the manager who joins a company 5 years later. So this is it, guys. This is the first kickoff call ever for Australia. So I hope you see the amazing vision we have here, and you join us. You join us today. If you're viewing this presentation for the first time, if somebody just invited you here, then get registered with Powur, sign up, and let's position your business to be a 4-figure or 5-figure monthly income stream for you, or maybe 6-figure if you decide that you're going to be the next leader that really takes charge of owning this entire market. Let's do it. Let's lock arms. Let's make it happen. There's phenomenal leadership that's already in that market. Again, Daniel and David and Lawrence and their tireless efforts, they spent about a year of their life, just so everybody knows, it was about a year to really get the things in motion. And, you know, working our management team, bringing providers to the table, you know, and even their own money, their own time to really create this opportunity. So there's phenomenal dedicated leadership. So I think you guys right now, this is the time to make the decision to join Powur and help Australia become the solar power global leader. I mean, you guys really could be the example for the whole world to follow. The trends are here. It's all here right now. So again, if you have any questions, I recommend you get back in touch with whoever invited you here. Get your questions answered. Ask them whatever questions you have. And once those questions are answered, ask them for their link to join and get signed up with us today. And we will host a 24-hour launch strategy session for your business, and we will show you how to launch. So look out for fireworks, everybody. You're going to see some announcements next week on the platform. All of the Australian providers, the first providers, will be going live. And we're covering most of all the major population centers now: Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth. I mean, we're all over the place already, and this is just the beginning. So this is Jonathan Budd. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. And I look forward to meeting you at an event sometime soon in the future. God bless. Have an amazing rest of your day. Night, everybody. And good morning to all of you in Australia. Ciao.